Hello, and welcome to the Cubicorn Games Podcast. My name is Dustin Morbido. We are coming out off of a busy week into another busy week. And joining me to be busy doing stuff and things, Lorraine Morbido is here.
Smash Mouth was right. The years start coming and they don't stop coming. In the States, it's like days and then weeks, but the sentiment is the same.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on, but we are making do, we are making progress, we are making video games.
I'm making a mess.
Summer is basically starting now, so...
A couple weeks.
Yeah,
officially summer.
We're in it. It's really warm now.
Disgusting.
Yeah, not my favorite weather-wise.
Never.
Every degree. We haven't had quite a 90-degree day yet, so...
Every degree over 72 is a personal attack against me.
Oh, that's so
Every
funny.
single one.
But yeah, we're making do. We're getting by. We have some sort of, I don't know, not interesting or exciting in terms of, like, content necessarily, but, like, there's things happening with Cucumber.
Biz dev.
Yeah, we're probably... I would say we're almost certainly going to hire on a little bit of help to get the game marketed as we get closer to release next year, which is exciting. I will definitely be happy to have a lot of that stuff off my plate.
Yeah.
Like, man, will I appreciate that.
One less frickin' thing.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's exciting. I don't remember if I talked about that before. Did I talk about the music stuff? I might have anyway. But we also might have, in addition to all the music I made for the game, there's a good chance we're going to have somebody come on to make even more music for the final product, which will be cool.
Yeah, a couple more tracks.
Cool and exciting. So it's a very exciting, interesting time where we're like slowly but surely pulling a couple other people in tiny ways to help us, make the game the best that it can be and get it into as many hands as possible.
And then I've spent the most of the past 2 days staring at a lot of orange. That's how game is going.
Yeah, and Lorraine has been deep in the minds of like basically putting together kind of like the final visual touches for the final boss fight. Like there's going to be a really cool
I think it was like
set piece looking object in that scene that'll be really neat by the time it's done.
Last week it was mostly like character animation that still needs some like effects and stuff added, and then this week has been, well, I guess you could call it's more like object animation. And then attempting to figure out how to make liquid look like things when it's in a giant tank. But I'm getting there. I'm happy with the progress, even though I spent most of today making stuff that I threw out because I didn't like it. But I'm getting there. I'm figuring it out. So
it's going to be exciting. And I've been doing little bits of level design stuff that I definitely need to get back to more of. We had other stuff come up over the weekend that I had to go get done. Some interesting car things that I do think there is eventually. We're not going to talk about it today, but at some point over the summer, we're going to do a whole electric car episode. but that episode is not right now. We're securing a future where we don't need to worry about petroleum products in our immediate day-to-day lives, and it's been exciting. Got Lorraine a new daily driver that will help her get to work cheaper. It's basically about the state of things. But that was one of the things I've been up to. And like I said, Tower 1's, right now, actually, Tower 1's secret level stuff is the stuff I've really been up to in Cucumber, which is, I think I'm finally there where I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm in a position to start building this whole thing, because I'm kind of trying to juggle that. Like, to juggle building all the secret levels for all the towers on top of everything else I've got going on. So it's going to be a process. It's going to be a real balancing act from basically right now until release.
Yeah.
But it's all got to get done. So I got to just keep chucking stuff on the pile and then pulling it back off.
There is something that kind of came out of the last episode that I was like a little cagey on during the episode, and that is the decision that all secret levels will be inaccessible until you beat the game.
Oh, right. Yeah, that is technically a decision we made after the fact. Yep.
Because the question that I was really cagey about that I didn't want to get into a longer discussion is, would you, if like an ability that you get later in the game beyond when you would technically be able to access a secret level that could theoretically, not like specifically, but kind of soft lock the instance where you wouldn't be able to progress. And we had a conversation about that, and we're just like, there will be a bespoke door. It'll be the same across all the levels, 4 secret levels, and it will be fully locked until you've beaten the final boss for the first time. Then they'll all open. You'll have all the abilities that you could need to get to them. So then that doesn't hamstring our design. Like they're going to be, all of them are going to be designed with the mindset of you having every single ability at your disposal. So then they can all kind of be a similar tier of like strange without having to be like, oh, like maybe like because you only need like these 2 abilities here, maybe those are the only ones you'll have. No, it's just like you'll be able to find all the doors if you can reach them with certain abilities, but you'll be able to go in them until later. And I think that will be a good change to allow just the like general design space to be really open for making them strange.
And like I said, that does actually, again, after we had that conversation, I was really happy with it because that solved a couple problems, right? Well, I think I do love the, like, again, because we had just gotten off of that call talking about some marketing stuff and, like, what little ways we could at least, like, spruce up the little subtle but hopefully noticeable ways that we can kind of spruce up the world building. The feeling that the game is at least a little bit a world as opposed to just a series of obstacle courses, right? And so I really like the idea that like the secret level doors kind of have this iconography more tied to like the final boss of the main game, and then you beat that, and you can see that they're open now. I think that's very clever and very neat. And like I said, it serves a functional purpose of. You don't need to let those people into those towers with before they can do them because they might not be able to do them without every ability. And it's like a transition right in the world state. In the same way that like if you go to the Mega Man X levels in a certain order, like if you beat Shill Penguin and then go to the Mammoth level or whatever, like it's frozen over. Like it's a little bit like that, like a tiny bit. I think that's cool. But it was a really good idea that Lorraine had, and I was like, that's smart.
Sometimes I have those.
That's smart. We should do that, and so we will.
A lot of the times, I'm thinking about the end user experience, which is why I push back on a lot of level design. Because sometimes it sucks. Y'all don't get to see how bad it sucks sometimes.
Yeah. But it's gonna be good. So like I said, it's an exciting but very hectic time right now. And so, like I said, I am gonna have to collect my thoughts a little bit. We have a lot of stuff going on this week that has nothing to do with games too. It's just gonna be a busy week regardless. But that's about where we're at in terms of Super Cucumber updates. So not a ton new to report, but like some very exciting stuff. And we'll have more to talk about in the future for sure. And I haven't really been playing too much of anything. I played a little more Slay 2. It's so good.
And we actually did a 4-person run last week.
Which was kind of neat.
We were successful.
Yeah, just barely got through it. It was cool.
I still had some gas in the tank, but I was running out of cars because it was that fucking door maker.
And then Lorraine has been playing an absolute ton of the only game we're going to meaningfully talk about today.
Ton is like 10 hours.
For me, that's a ton.
I guess.
If I play 3 hours of a game, for me, that's a lot. So 10 hours is a lot.
You compare that to my like 70 in Slay.
Sure.
That's a
ton.
But 10 is.
But you've been playing it.
Fine.
It's Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. Okay.
Yes. Hot off the presses. Maybe aside from the Slay the Spire 2 EA, perhaps the newest game I've played in a while. But I've been really liking it. I knew the only thing I knew about this game was like I had seen its launch its announcement trailer in the first Nintendo Direct. That might have been the one when we were in Florida, and I just saw that one was happening, and I was just like, I'll watch that, sure. So I hadn't watched anything else about it. I had the gist of an idea. I knew it wasn't going to be too much crazier than that. And the thing that I've been telling people, and by people I mean 2 separate people I've had conversations with about this, is that it is very much a Yoshi story game, not a Yoshi Island game. Those are 2 different types of experiences, where Yoshi's Island is a little more of a like straightforward, like beginning and end of a level sequence, and story being a little bit more of a kind of like puzzle box, no goal, like no like end goal post or whatever. You're working towards an objective within a like explorable space that does have platforming. But instead of fruit collection like in Yoshi's Story, you are on an ecological survey. You are going into a level about a specific enemy, and you are studying it. You are doing like interacting with it as just Yoshi. You're interacting with it, seeing how it does stuff with the environment, or how certain other stimuli like water or like fruit or whatever other enemies it interacts with. It's a lot of little like you're just like taking 2 things and like setting them next to each other and like just kind of like seeing what happens. So it's definitely more of a puzzle platformer than like an action platformer type thing. And I mean it's cute. Like you're first given a like set of 6 levels that you unlock by like with like the main like progression counter is just like these stars you get from making discoveries. So it's just like, oh, you made this interaction happen, or you witnessed it or whatever. We're gonna put it in the book. It's listed, and you get a thing, and the levels take a certain amount of things. The first credit roll is after that 6th level. Then the page turns over, because it's all in a book. The whole interface and what you're doing is inside of this book. Page turns over. You get 4 more levels, bring the total up to 10. And then once you beat the 10th, the last creature input entry in the 10th level, 2 more show up. There's another credit roll, and then 2 more show up. One which is kind of like you're studying specific things. Like one of them's like, oh, like what is the tallest enemy we can see? Or like which one is the fastest in the water? Or like you have to find all these hidden enemies. Like they're much more bespoke little things with even less of a goal. You're just kind of like futzing around a bit. Like all the enemies you need are already in the level. You just have to like go and like find him or whatever. The last one of those I have not successfully finished because it's kind of shitty. It's a escort mission of these like 5 versions of this one little like the little flower enemy or whatever, and you have to get them to the end of the level while dealing with all these extremely dangerous enemies that are trying to kill them. And I failed it enough times that I was just frustrated and set it down. And I did not go into the last one, which seems to be like, I think it has to do with Yoshi specifically, just judging by some of the iconography on it. But it looks like it's more of like kind of like time trial-y like challenge things. Again, probably not with even like probably the same pared back level of collectibles for it. So it's more of just like a kind of here could have even just been to fill out to make it 2 full pages of 4, because it's like 4 per page or 3 per page. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, it was very easy to fill the first 6, and then you flip it over and like, oh, there's 2 spaces on this other thing. Something else is going to fill this in later. So it's not a long game. There's a decent amount of replayability in like individual levels, because there's a good chance you're not going to find everything the first time. Stuff changes as you progress deeper in the book, like, and other later on discovered enemies will appear in like specific like new instances of the previous levels to do have specific interaction or whatever. And once you kind of get that, like, there's not much else there. It's not a long game. I still think my biggest thing that I'll say is I'd say it's overpriced. I love Yoshi, but this is
because it's stickered at 70. Is that right?
Physical 70, 60 digital 60, okay. Which is a lot. Yeah. Like I said, I've played almost all the content at least once in this game, mm-hmm. and I've just scratched 10 hours. And if you don't already have a Switch 2, unless you're like dying for something like this, yeah, I wouldn't buy the system for it either.
Well, I think that's kind of interesting, right? Because I do think like to some degree the genre and like the level of, I don't know if stress is the right word, interactability, like gameplay tension. Mm-hmm. I do think that stuff feel like, at least for me, and again, I guess that's just also taste-based, right? But I do think that really affects people's perception of value for products in general. Because like the way you've described it, and as I've watched you play it, it obviously has platforming elements, and that mm-hmm. like, you jump around,
Yoshi jumps around. Yoshi controls like you'd expect Yoshi to. But he throws eggs, he flutter jumps, ground pounds, uses and eats stuff with his tongue.
It's not really a game filled with tension.
No.
Like it is
so
more
even like one of the interesting things that happens, I think it was after the first credits thing. Like you've been collecting these smiley flowers, mm-hmm. staple in Yoshi games since the first Yoshi's Island game. And with nothing for no reason. Like they don't progress anything. You're picking up these they look like just like golden letters of like a made up language mm-hmm. that are essentially coins, and you can use those to buy like further hints at other discoveries you maybe didn't see, or get clarifications as to what you need to do to unlock these things. And then you have the flowers with nothing to use them for, but you can then unlock what they're called like exploration tools, which you can basically make a custom HUD, because the game is extremely bare HUD-wise. There's nothing there. But once you get these tools, you can even just like socket them in. Like some of them claim to be a health bar. There's no health bar in the game. The only time I've like died at all was falling into a bottomless pit, and that just lifts you back up and puts you back on the ground, and you just keep going. Like there is no, to my understanding, no death state. The only time there was even like a modicum of tension was in the like the 10th level's final boss, which had a timer on it, but I beat it long before the timer ended. But yeah, it's you can put a timer on the screen if you want to. Like, they give you options to put like a digital and literally an analog clock to just show you time passing. Like, the number of things you can put on your HUD that are absolutely meaningless is very funny. I think it's charming. I like the feature personally. Because they're just bizarre, and you can just put them, like, it's a grid, but like you can put them in the center of the goddamn screen if you wanted to. If you want to be a psycho. But yeah, there's like negative tension. It's super chill. The only thing that you'll be fighting against are some of the mechanics, because each enemy has a pretty unique like interaction. Like, they're all fairly bespoke, and some of them aren't winners. Right. There were certain levels where when because you're going towards like there's some like big discovery that you need to make to like finish a level. Yeah. And there were times where I reached that and I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, because you don't have to leave immediately. But there were certain ones where like, yeah, bye, I'm out of here. I don't want to see this anymore or do this ever again. Yeah. Whereas other ones I'm like, okay, no, I'm here. We're finding as much as I can right now.
Because the thing I was going to get at was, like I said, I think it's interesting that because that genre, because like I said, I would say like, I think it's an expectations thing for certain audiences, because like I do think that obviously on average, people do expect some amount of kind of like quote unquote conflict in a platformer, whether it's like with the environment or like, you know, if it has boss fights or that kind of thing. And there's a spectrum to that too, because there's certainly a lot of Kirby games that are sort of in the middle of that, and Yoshi games are all across that spectrum.
I would say 2D specifically.
Yeah.
I think there's a little more wiggle room, I think, in 3D platformers. Like, if it's a very open-ended and you can just kind of explore. Yeah. But like, I think because of where that specific genre started and kind of the general trappings of it, like a 2D platformer is maybe a little more like,
yeah, I think
to fit, like you're scrolling across the screen and you're going somewhere.
I think there is a little bit of that expectation, and for a thing like this that, like you said, is, I would say it's more like a combination of like a puzzle game and like a cozy game than like a game where jumping is like the most important part of it, like landing on a specific thing, let's say. I do think that probably has maybe tinged yours and might tinge other people's like expectations of value, whereas something like this game is probably more close to Animal Crossing in some ways than like in terms of not like what you do in it moment to moment necessarily, but how it kind of like makes you feel while playing it.
I'd maybe liken it more to farming than Animal Crossing specifically.
That's fair. Like, but I would maybe as not the deepest Animal Crossing connoisseur, I would kind of like put those next to each other. So maybe that's just me not being nuanced enough.
I would say like Animal Crossing is a little more just straight like a life sim.
Sure.
Whereas this is like you're interacting more with the environment.
Okay,
which is a little more like
what you're saying. Yeah,
like a Harvest Moon-y type deal.
Yeah.
But it is very PvE specifically, not like.
But in either case, more close to that than like necessarily like a Super Mario Brothers game, or than like Yoshi. Is it just Yoshi's Island? Is that the Super Nintendo one?
Yes.
Super
Mario World 2.
Super Mario World 2.
Yoshi's Island in the U.S.
Yeah, it's much more laid back and chilled out than like something like either of those.
Which is interesting. Like it's an interesting distinction, because this is also made by Good Feel. And they've made all the recent Yoshi games, starting with Woolly World.
Okay.
Like, they made Woolly World, they made Crafted World, which I honestly did not know until looking up into this. And then, like, I didn't know that they made this game until I saw them in the credits.
Sure.
Like, there was no other indication.
Yeah. And I haven't played either of those games. You've played both of them. You would say that those are, at least in relative terms, more in line with traditional platforming than this is.
Those are Yoshi Island games.
Okay.
Both of them. Maybe, like, I think it's more of, like, it's almost like a gradation between them, whereas, like, Woolly World is very much a, like, 2D platformer.
Yeah.
And then Crafted World had some of that, but did have a little of the exploration stuff, because all levels have like an A and B side, where it literally like flips the level around and reverses the direction you're going in. And then this is just like we're in there are walls, like the book, because you go into the book pages and like the pages end, like the interactable area stops. Like, it's not like, oh, like you fall off and die or whatever. Like, no, there's just a wall there. You can't keep going forward. You're in a very specific box to do specific tasks on these creatures.
Another thing I was just gonna like a stray observation, like I said, having not played it but watched it over your shoulder a little bit. I don't know if it's just that team or like all the teams on Nintendo. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of really good work being done in the animation department on a lot of these Nintendo projects, because I know that recent Mario and Luigi game, Brothership, I feel like it got kind of panned. Like I feel like as a whole, people didn't necessarily like that product. As another game I have not played, but like I don't remember. I feel like there was kind of like people were like it's kind of meh. But watching the trailers for it, I was like, oh man, this game looks awesome. Like the way that they kind of like
Good for them has always done. Like they've had some really great especially very stylistic things and the Woolly World
in this game,
because from my understanding, like I'd have to do a little more research, but like the first time I was aware of them was Kirby's Epic Yarn for the Wii.
Okay.
And then they made Woolly World, so it was like, oh, like maybe they're just kind of like maybe they're like that kind of fabricy thing. And then Crafted World was a lot more like Yoshi was made out of like felt, and the world was made out of like arts and crafts pieces.
Right.
And like all the enemies and stuff are all like imagined in different ways, and this one has a very much like illustrative art style.
Yeah,
like when you're outside of the book, everything is rendered like Yoshi looks normal. He just looks like Yoshi, and then in the book he's got a lot more of a like manuscript, like illuminated manuscript, not like a in the style, but like he's drawn, like he's got little like effects on him when he like does certain things. And the enemies are the same way, and
it's very much like the way the animation flows is very much that kind of like Spider-Verse kind of like fake 2D kind of thing, which like I said I'm in general I would say I'm a fan of, and that cohesion of like that he's inside pages of a literal like book, and like it looks that way, I think is just like very cool and clever. And I do think in practice the way the game has pulled that off looks really good.
Yeah, it looks nice. Like it's a really nice looking game. All the backgrounds and stuff, like the environments are fun to explore. Each of the like chapters are different ecosystems, so you're going from like the forest, you go to like the seaside, into like some underground caves, all over the place. Like this giant like tree that goes up into the sky.
I think it's, for me, it's the opposite of that. Like whenever I complain about too much like squash and stretch on stuff like digitally, where it's just like there's either a 3D or 2D asset, and then we're just going to algorithmically kind of like mush it around to give more of a sense that it is moving or alive or whatever. I always think that looks terrible. And this game, for me, again, just personal preference kind of thing, not my bag. For me, this game is doing the exact opposite. Where like the nature of the animation and the style of it and how well realized it is really reinforces the actual visual style of how the character is rendered.
And I think Good Feel has had a really good track record with, specifically, I'll just say the ones that I'm aware of, these Yoshi games and that one Kirby game. Like their style has always been like through the roof. Like they really realize the like materials that they're using as like how they're rendering these characters, and like they have such a distinct feel and like look to them. And obviously they've got a pretty decent range, like with these even just looking at these 3 Yoshi games in a vacuum, like they look similar because they're all Yoshi games and they all have kind of like a kind of vibe or whatever they're going for. But they do, like if you had 3 screenshots, one from each of those games, they would all look so different but still cohesive, like especially within themselves, and then as a like unified front. I think they've done an amazing job on carrying this franchise over the like 10 years or so since like Woolly World came out.
But yeah, like I said, I've enjoyed watching you play it, and like I said, it definitely does not seem like one of those things that like not necessarily my bag. It's probably a little too laid back for me on average, but
it's kind of that way for me too. Okay. Like it's just on the cusp of like, because I personally really like exploring in games. That's something I enjoy. Maybe not like in 2D platformers specifically, because again, like that, I think that line is drawn really hard in my brain just from stuff I've played over in like more formative years of my life. But like the ability to just like kind of like just literally go fuck around and find out of like, oh, what happens if I put these 2 guys together? Oh, that enemy's just gonna eat him. There's a lot of consumption in this game, just as a whole. You're feeding stuff to things constantly. Sometimes they're sentient and it's just like, oops.
Yeah.
Sorry. My bad. You were really cute. There's one of the enemies that I don't remember what its name, because so you get to name everything.
Yeah, that is a cute little touch that like whenever you kind of like document things
my one
in the
big
the
frustration
thesaurus or whatever,
with this,
The Pokedex, the
The
Yoshi
encyclopedia. He's Mr. Encyclopedia, actually. My one gripe is that you only get 10 characters for it, whereas the, like, given names that, because you can just have him suggest it, his names can be so much longer, and that's just frustrating. But there is one enemy that's like this little, like, spore puffball kind of guy, and I did name it Cordyceps after the last of us, because it does, like, wither and, like, take over. You can just spread it everywhere through the level and just have it take over all kinds of stuff. It was very funny. That's all.
Definitely interesting at the very minimum, which is cool.
It's really easy to pick up and like because each chapter is broken up into, I think it's maybe 6 as well, different enemies within the ecosystem. And like in some cases you have to like play the ones that are on the screen to unlock all of them. But it's really easy to just like, oh, I want to go like play for like 20 minutes or something like that. And then because of how like how loose everything is, like your goal is however much you want to like poke around essentially. So going in and just playing for a little bit, making a couple of discoveries, maybe finishing the entry or whatever, and then stopping is very easy. It is very conducive to doing that, like short play sessions, which might stretch the length out for you more. Because I got the first credit roll last week on the weekend in about maybe like 3 days of playing. But I really wanted, I was kind of rushing out of morbid curiosity. I was like, this can't be it. Is this actually it? Just the first 6 levels? And then when I saw more stuff, I was like, okay, I slowed down and took my time a little bit more. So I got the second one, I think it was a couple days ago. But that was at a much more leisure, and I've been like playing a little bit here and there. I've also been sprinkling in a little bit more Picross because I picked up a Capcom one. Also, really easy thing to just sit down and like really zone out doing. Put some music on and just vibe, making Ryu Street Fighter or whatever.
Sure.
Chill Penguin showing up every now and then. But it is like I don't dislike the game.
Yeah. There's a lot to like about it.
Because it is so. When I mentioned the length to price, it is a lot shorter than Crafted and Woolly World by a wide margin.
That's a good thing to point out. Yeah.
Woolly, I really want to go back to Crafted World. I did not play that game like tip to tail. I 100%ed Woolly World. I love that game. That is one of my favorite games of all time. But like I think there was just something with the like having to go like the A/B side wasn't like didn't hit. I beat the game. I beat Crafted World as well, but I know I could go back and there's still more to do in there. But it didn't take me like a week and a half to beat. It took me longer, and it was not as expensive. But like if you have a Switch 2 and you like think this might be something you'd want to play, I'd recommend it for sure. I love Yoshi. I love him so much. So like when I saw it, I was like, this might not be like a thing that I would normally play. Like it looked pretty different from like the last 2 games. So I was like, And then I was like, oh, why not? And I did it. I did really enjoy it. It's very cute. Do I spoil some weird information that you learned? It's literally a throwaway line that is never brought up again. But I'm just going to do it. I think it's really funny. All of the creatures were put into that book to save them from the world ending.
Oh, God.
Whoever made the encyclopedia was like, I'm trying to preserve all of these creatures because there's some apocalypse. I don't remember exactly what it was. Because again, it was one line of dialogue after the first credit roll. And it has never been touched on again. But like all of these animals used to live in the world that Yoshi inhabits, but they don't anymore because the world ended and the encyclopedia is keeping them alive inside of its pages. And I just think that's really funny.
Interesting.
Because I just thought it was a book. It was just like, oh, this was a book that was for some reason in Bowser's Castle and chased Bowser Jr. and Kamek through it because you have to have Kamek and a small Bowser in a Yoshi game. You just have to. But yeah. Yoshi's in the Mysterious Book is a post-apocalyptic video game.
Nice. Things we learned. Yeah. Well, like I
you
said,
gotta learn something every single day.
It definitely sounds neat. It sounds interesting, like you said. There are some things maybe that are a little weird about it, but like I said, I have enjoyed watching it in motion. And it did inspire me to like maybe I will finally fucking boot up the Switch 2 for myself and play Bonanza.
Hell yeah!
Still a thing I'm interested in doing, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Do it. Do it.
Yoshi and the Mysterious Book and the Mysterious Book
and the Mysterious Book
is available now on Nintendo Switch 2 if you are so interested in playing a Yoshi game.
It's cute.
And yeah, with that said, I think we're going to call it a show. We got a lot of other stuff to get done, so we're going to go work on video games. We're going to go do life stuff. If you want to send us a game that you're working on to check out, we love checking out indie stuff. You can email it to us at podcast@cubicorngames.com. I did get a thing in my inbox recently that I'm going to follow up on at some point. We will have some other indie thing most likely to look at in a couple weeks here.
Woo!
At least. If you want to hear more about Super Cucumber, you can go wishlist it on Steam. Just go search for it and wishlist it. You can subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere podcasts are found. I think that's... Oh, you can join Discord. There's a Discord link on that Super Cucumber page. My brain is all over the place. So if you go to Steam and go to search for Super Cucumber, scroll down, there's a Discord link. Get in that Discord and tell us more about your thoughts about the game. Check it out. Ask us things about whatever you want to do. And with all that said, we are going to call it a show.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lorraine, for hanging out and talking about Yoshi.
If anyone ever wants to talk about Yoshi,
just a general.
I'll talk about him
down.
forever.
Okay, sounds good. Well, yeah, thank you for doing that and for informing me. And like I said, it's been fun to watch you play a little bits of it here and there. Thank you to Colette, our cat, for being relatively well behaved over the course of the show. And thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm.
We will be back in another couple of weeks with actually kind of a special show. I think the next one's going to be really neat.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it when we get to it. So tune in next time for a very exciting episode.
Woo.
And until then, we will see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.